Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to talk about housing, and I have given notice that the responses that the Liberal Housing Minister has provided are unsatisfactory. And they're unsatisfactory not just to me, but to an entire generation of would-be and prospective home buyers. And I've asked several questions in this House to the Minister repeatedly on this question of housing because after 10 years, I know they like to say it's a new government, but they've been in power 10 years and they cannot run away from their record on this. And after 10 years, the reality is that people in the next generation are simply unable to afford a home. And the solutions that have been proposed are that maybe we can live in modular homes or prefab homes or shipping containers maybe. But what they haven't proposed is a real solution to give the next generation of home buyers choice in their housing. If a prefabricated home works for a family, excellent. If it doesn't, people should have choice, but they shouldn't be forced into only one government size fits all. And I want to share with the Parliamentary Secretary, who I hope will be providing some more enlightened answers this evening, on just how bad it's gotten in my riding. So in the town of Scugog, Township of Scugog, according to the most recent Toronto Regional Real Estate Board report from May, the average price of a single-family detached home is now $989,000. Since 2015, so since these Liberals were elected, the average price of all types of housing in the township has increased by 208%. At the same time, the median salary in the township of Scugog is after tax $92,000. That means housing is 10 times salary in the town. But according to Statistics Canada, wages in the township have only increased by 9.5% since the last census period. And that's if you can find an average priced house in the township. If the Parliamentary Secretary were to go on realtor.ca and look today, she wouldn't find any homes that are selling for $989,000. You would find homes for selling, for example, on Waterbury Crescent for $1.4 million. In the town of Georgina, according to TREB's May report, the average cost for a single-family detached home is now $808,000. Since 2015, again, since the Liberals were elected, the average price for all housing types in the town of Georgina has increased by 99.5%. At the same time, median after-tax salary in the town is $85,000. Housing is 9.5 times your salary. At the same time, Statistics Canada has said that wages in the town have only increased 11% in the last census period. Lastly, in the town of Uxbridge, $1.2 million for a single-family detached. Since 2015, average prices for all housing up 120%. What all this means is that the average salary no longer buys the average house in the GTA and almost all across the country. And that's not right. In Toronto, for example, the Liberals handed out $471 million in housing decelerator funds, and we've got 58% less housing starts. I want the Parliamentary Secretary to help me make sense of this. So I'm going to ask, first, can you confirm to the House that the Liberal promise is still to build 500,000 new homes a year? And second, tell us whether that promise of building 500,000 new homes this year will be met.
Again, I'll just remind colleagues, questions through the Chair. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary, the Minister of Housing.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Alors, et puis je remercie mon collègue.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to thank my colleague for your turn for his question. Indeed, and we agree on this point, Canada is experiencing a housing crisis. Too many Canadians see that their dream of owning a home is receding. Young people cannot enter the housing market, and throughout the country, communities are experiencing pressure because the housing system just isn't working as it should. I'd like to thank my colleague through the Chair for the long list of market prices at this time. As we promised during the campaign, and as we have demonstrated with what we've shown right from the beginning with this new government, we will be tackling the housing crisis head-on. We will show concentration and innovation in doing so. We are taking measures to make housing more affordable for all Canadians. We have started removing the GST for first-time buyers of a new home under $1 million, and we are reducing GST for new home builds of under $1.5 million. I'd like to thank my colleague across the way for having voted with us on this. We are also reducing taxes for the middle class, which means that two-income households could save up to $840 a year. This will help people who wish to save that money to save up for their first home. Once again, I would thank our colleagues across the way for voting with us on this. We are not just talking about change, we are actually changing things. We are using all tools at our disposal in order to build housing at an unprecedented rate. We are doing this in partnership with the provinces, territories, Indigenous communities, municipalities, the private sector, and nonprofits. Just earlier today, I met an organization that is working to build modular housing. And for several weeks, we've been hearing about shipping containers.
A shipping container, maybe that was 50 years ago. This is not the reality anymore. La création de Maisons Canada.
The creation of Building Homes Canada is a pillar of our plan. It will transform the way in which housing is built in our country. This organization will speed up the construction of affordable housing. It will reduce housing construction delays. It will reduce financial and bureaucratic obstacles. This initiative will nearly double the housing construction rate. We will also invest in modular and prefab housing. This way, we can develop a modern and sustainable housing industry, resting on Canadian innovation, as well as Canadian businesses, workers, and materials. And we won't stop there. We will cooperate with provinces, territories, and municipalities to reduce development fees by half. We have also created a fund to reduce obstacles to development and in order to create thousands of new housing starts across the country and increase supply. We are creating a unified Canadian economy. We will make housing more affordable, accessible, and available to all Canadians. That is the promise that we have made, and we have a plan to keep that promise and build a strong Canada. Thank you.
Durham.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I appreciate my colleague's honest assessment of the crisis that we are in. And I think it is important. You can't get to a solution unless you accept the facts that there is a problem. So I thank her for that. I disagree that certain types of housing solutions are from 15 years ago. I mean, you can go across the river and see the shipping container village in Gatineau that was opened in December of 2024. So that's less than 6 months ago. But I'm okay with all types of housing, but I just want a choice. I want a choice, and I want Canadians to have a choice. But what I didn't hear from the parliamentary secretary was an answer to the question, which is the commitment still to build 500,000 new homes every year? And second, will that commitment be met this year? Simple questions, yes or no would be fine.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Les jeunes Canadiens
Young Canadians can wait no longer to have the same opportunities to buy a home as previous generations. One of our main priorities is to make buying a first home something that's accessible for people. We've been saying that throughout the parliamentary session, during the election campaign. We are committed to this, and we are bringing in the necessary tools to make that a reality. We are committed to nearly double the rate of development, as well as creating a new construction industry that is based on Canadian materials, workers, and companies, including Canadian softwood lumber. Here I have a number of photos of wood buildings. I would invite my colleague to look at them.
Pas de prop.
No props in the house.
Ce gouvernement rendra le logement.
Our government will make housing more affordable. We will increase supply, reduce costs, and together we will make Canada strong.